What if the voice urging you to quit fell silent forever? What if the struggle you're facing right now isn't a signal to stop, but a sign that you're on the verge of a breakthrough? This pain was never given to break you. It was given to build you. Right now, in this very moment, you're in the pressure, the fatigue, the doubt. This is not your exit. This is your proving ground. Because no man has ever risen without first being broken. No empire ever stood without storms, and no mind was ever forged into steel without first walking through fire. You say it's hard. Good. That means it's working. This speech isn't here to comfort you. I didn't come to give you permission to stop. I came to awaken the force beneath your weakness, the version of you that fights, executes, and refuses to crawl back into comfort. Let the quitters quit. Let the fearful retreat. But you, don't you dare quit. You've come too far. You've survived too much. Everything you fought for lies just beyond this pain. So you don't stop here. You don't break here. You build here. Now stand tall inside your mind and let the silence of your resolve drown out the world's noise. This is your hour. Let's begin. When things get tough, most men look for an escape. They whisper lies to themselves. Maybe this wasn't meant for me. Maybe now isn't the right time. Maybe I've done enough. But let me speak to the part of you that remembers who you were before the world taught you to retreat. Pain is not your enemy. Pressure is not a signal to stop. Resistance is not a red light. It's a gatekeeper, a test, a sacred threshold that only the few, the builders, the doers, the deciders will ever cross. And the man who crosses it is not the same man who entered it. He is stronger, sharper, real. That is the purpose of hardship, to strip you down until all that remains is truth, until every excuse is burned in the fire, and only the unbreakable part of you survives. Andrew Carnegie once told me something I've never forgotten. Adversity is the refining fire of destiny. It burns away the weak man and leaves only the one ready to lead. Carnegie didn't rise from privilege. He was a poor Scottish immigrant working in a telegraph office for almost nothing. But every hour he worked, he watched, he listened, he prepared. And when opportunity came, he didn't flinch. Because the fire he walked through, the long days, the uncertainty, the low pay, had already forged his mind. And here you are in your own fire. When I ask you, what will this fire leave behind? Will it leave a man who folded under pressure, or a man so focused, so steady, so commanding, the world has no choice but to move around him? Charles M. Schwab knew pressure well. As Carnegie's right hand, he faced the storms of industry, the roar of competition, the resistance of men older, richer, and more experienced. But what set Schwab apart wasn't genius. It was resilience. He didn't fold. He moved swiftly, decisively. He led from the front while others shrank into the shadows. I once asked him how he dealt with fear. He said, "Mr. Hill, fear is a fog, and a man must learn to walk forward even when he cannot see. You may not see your future clearly right now. You may be lost in the fog of fatigue, surrounded by doubt. But hear me clearly. You still walk, you still move, you still build, because the man who waits for clarity will never lead. The man who says, 'I'll push when it's easier,' will never arrive." Consider Henry Ford. A man told his vision was foolish, that the car was a novelty, that it could never replace the horse. Even his own engineers said his idea for an 8-cylinder engine was impossible. And do you know what he told them? Build it anyway. Not once, but over and over until they did. Because Ford understood something important. When everything seems to resist you, it's not always the world testing you. It's your mind asking, do you really want this? And you answer not with words, but with relentless persistence, with execution, with an unbreakable identity. Ford didn't stop because it was hard. He became Ford because it was hard, and he kept going anyway. Do you think success comes easy? Do you think the men who built nations, industries, inventions, and movements did it in comfort? No, they did it tired. They did it misunderstood. They did it surrounded by doubt from others and from themselves. But they moved anyway because they made a decision and never opened the door to retreat. Let me be clear. If you're tired right now, good, it means you've been in the arena. If you're doubting, good, it means you're pushing the limits of what you thought possible. If you're under pressure, good, it means you're doing something that matters. But I will not let you quit, because quitting now is not just a betrayal of your goals. It is a betrayal of your identity. And I know the man you are becoming, the one who keeps showing up, the one who listens not to fear but to vision, the one who would rather suffer for purpose than coast in mediocrity. Let the crowd rest. Let them doubt. Let them walk away when it gets heavy. But you do not get to quit, because this fire you're in is making you. And when you rise from it, not if, when, the world will know you were not lucky, you were not gifted, you were not saved, You are forged. Keep going. Don't you dare quit. You must understand something now, perhaps more deeply than ever before. The pain you feel today is not punishment. It is a process, a sacred rite of passage, a furnace that burns away softness, hesitation, and illusion, leaving only iron. And yet what do most men do when they feel this fire? They run. They seek comfort. They retreat to what is familiar. But you will not. You were not built to run. You were built to withstand. You were built to build. And nothing worthy has ever been built without cost. Let's be honest. There will be days when nothing goes your way, when voices around you question everything you do, when even the smallest step forward feels like dragging a stone uphill. On those days, temptation will whisper, maybe you should pause, maybe slow down, maybe quit. Those whispers are not your voice. They are the voice of drift, the voice of old identity, trying to drag you back to safety, to comfort, to the version of you that never finished anything. And you are done living like that. You must speak louder than those whispers. You must say, no, I'm not going anywhere. I may be tired, I may be stretched, but I am not broken. I will not fold, and I will not leave this chapter unfinished. This is the moment your identity changes, not with celebration, but with choice. The choice to continue, the choice to carry the weight, even when your legs shake. The choice not to back down. When Abraham Lincoln led a nation through war, he wasn't greeted with applause. He was attacked from every side, mocked, slandered, betrayed by his own cabinet, questioned by many. People doubted him. The war dragged on longer than expected, yet he stood, quiet, focused, unbending. He carried the burden of a nation, not because he was invincible, but because he decided what must be done. He was not moved by noise. He was not swayed by fatigue. He was anchored to purpose, and that is what you must be now. Anchored to your mission, your future, the man you said you would become. There will be no applause for this decision, no audience watching, no instant reward, just silence, pain, progress. But make no mistake, every day you push through this storm, you are building a life no storm can shake. This is where you earn the crown, not when it's easy, not when you feel good, but now when it's hard, when it's heavy, when every part of you wants to stop and you don't. The man who continues when he could quit becomes undeniable. And here's what the world won't tell you. Most people give up just before the moment that would have changed everything. They were one conversation away, one client away, one new habit away, one more rep, one more call, one more sunrise of discipline, and they let it go because the going got hard. Let this burn into your mind. You are not most people. You are not average. You do not operate on feelings. You do not follow ease. You follow purpose. You follow vision. You follow a code. And that code is carved into your spirit with words like relentless, resilient, ruthless. And that code does not include quitting. When Thomas Edison worked on the electric light, he failed thousands of times. He saw his materials explode. He heard people call him a fool. He saw his own team question the mission. But do you know what? He never did. He never doubted the outcome. He had already decided what the end would be, and every failure was proof of progress. That is how you must see this moment in your life. It's not defeat. It's not a wall. It's a passage, and you're walking through it with head high, eyes forward, heart full of decision. You don't stop when it's hard. You become harder. You don't retreat from resistance. You rise through it. You don't ask, will I make it? You say, watch me. Build this until there's no doubt left. And if no one claps, keep going. If no one sees the work, keep going. If no one believes in you, believe. You execute. You finish. Because this fire you're in right now is temporary, but the strength it leaves in you will last forever. Keep going. Don't you dare quit. One day, all this pressure, pain, fatigue, and loneliness will make sense. One day, the weight you carried will become the strength you wear. One day, the silence you endured will become the stillness in your soul. One day, the work you did in the dark will become the light others follow. But that day only comes to the man who refuses to lay down. It doesn't come to the clever. It doesn't come to the entitled. It comes to the one who kept going when no one was watching, who built when no one believed, who didn't ask, how long will this take, but simply said, as long as it takes. Let me tell you again about a man I studied more than any other, Andrew Carnegie. When he first came to America, he was a poor immigrant boy with nothing but hunger for knowledge, opportunity, greatness. He started as a messenger boy in a telegraph office, and do you think his rise was easy? No. He worked long hours, sacrificed comfort, was overlooked, underpaid, doubted, but he kept going. Every job he took, he gave more than expected. Every obstacle he used as training. He endured the strain because he had a vision far greater than his conditions. Through relentless forward motion, sacrifice without applause, he built an empire of steel and became the richest man of his time. But more than fortune, his example matters. He showed greatness isn't born. It's built in silence, sweat, hard choices, and perseverance when others crumble. That same blood runs through you. That same fire burns in your mind. You're not here just to survive. You're here to build, create, lead. And the only way to fulfill that calling is to keep walking, especially when your legs shake. Because this is where most quit. They mistake pressure for punishment. They confuse discomfort for failure. They think hard means wrong, but nothing could be further from the truth. Hard means you're being forged. Hard means you've left your old self behind. Hard means you're climbing the mountain, and the peak is closer than you think. Remember Charles M. Schwab. He rose from humble clerk to president of U.S. Steel under Carnegie. He wasn't the smartest man in the room, but he had one trait that made him invaluable. He never stopped producing. While others froze in doubt or waited for perfect plans, Schwab moved. He acted. He led. In chaos, he built. That's what makes a man irreplaceable. That's what makes a man immortal in history's memory. Not cleverness or smooth paths, but how he bore the burden without breaking. You too will become that man if you refuse to let pressure become your excuse. Now hear this with absolute certainty. This storm will pass. This chapter will close. This weight will lift. But when it does, the real question is, who did you become because of it? Did you fold? Did you wait? Did you whimper and wish for better days? Or did you rise? Did you decide this would be the moment that made you unshakable? Say it with me now and mean every word. I do not shrink under pressure. Pressure shapes me. I don't flee from pain. I rise because of it. When things get tough, I push even harder. These aren't just words. They are your weapons. Use them in the morning when the burden weighs heavy. Use them at night when doubt whispers. When that old voice creeps in, the one that says this is too much, remember that voice belongs to your past, not your future. It's the past begging you to return, but you've already left that man behind. Ahead lies a life so firm, so grounded, so unshakable that even fear won't dare to knock twice. Keep moving. Don't slow down. Don't hesitate. And above all, don't quit. Not now. Not ever. Every builder faces this moment. The world goes silent. Applause fades. Progress stalls. In that quiet, one question roars louder than anything else. Is this still worth it? This moment divides dabblers from dominators. Everyone starts with fire, with a goal, but few endure when results vanish and struggles multiply. It's in these dark, momentumless days that men are either forged or forgotten. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. The pain you feel isn't a signal to quit. It's proof you're becoming, not just the man who starts things, but the man who finishes them. Not the planner, but the executor who pushes through resistance. Take Thomas Edison. When he worked on the electric light, he faced over 5,000 failures. Money was tight. The press mocked him. His own team doubted the dream. Yet Edison refused to quit because the results hadn't shown yet. Instead, he made success inevitable by never stopping. When asked if he ever considered giving up, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 5,000 ways that won't work." He'd already chosen victory before seeing it. This is what men of destiny do. They commit so fully that reality bends to their will. You must do the same. Stop doubting if you're on the right path. The right path hurts the most at first. It cuts away weakness. It exposes doubt. It drags excuses into the light and dares you to continue. Consider Henry Ford. When he set out to build a car for the common man, he was ridiculed. His trusted engineers called it impossible. But Ford didn't seek approval. He saw the assembly line clearly in his mind and already felt the product in people's hands. When told it couldn't be done, he said, "Build it anyway." That's power, clarity, and the standard you must hold yourself to. Right now, the pressure and doubt you feel are the gateway to everything you've ever wanted. But most men never pass through. They turn back, promising they'll try again later. They lie to themselves. It's just not the right time, or maybe this isn't meant for me. It is meant for you, but only if you finish what you started. Dreams don't belong to planners. They belong to those who suffer for them, who build them when no one's watching, who walk through storms while the wind screams to turn back. Here's what I learned from Charles M. Schwab, one of the greatest industrial leaders. Men who run when things get hard don't realize they were just feet from gold. I've seen it countless times. Men one decision, one day, one act of discipline away from breakthrough quit, not because they lacked ability, but because they lacked endurance. So I say this now, endure. Endure the silence. Endure the pressure. Endure the unseen hours. Because those who persist through pain are the only ones worthy of reward. When that moment arrives, say it with me, with conviction. I do not pause when it gets hard. I lean in. I do not seek escape. I seek mastery. Pain is not a signal to quit. It is proof that I am being rebuilt. Let these words live in your heart. Let them be your anchor. When the path grows cold, let them be your rhythm. A rhythm fear cannot interrupt.
The man who keeps moving when the light fades, when applause dies, when no one believes, not only survives the storm, he becomes the storm. Here's a secret few know. Your greatest strength emerges when you have nothing left. Not when motivated or winning, but when you're tired, alone, questioning everything.
In those moments, when most fold, the man of destiny is shaped. When it gets hard, your old self dies. The self that sought comfort, quick results, praise. That self can't survive pressure. And that's a gift, because pressure doesn't just break men, it purifies them. Consider Abraham Lincoln. When he entered the White House, the nation was fracturing. War loomed. Advisors wavered. Confidence was low, and the weight of a divided country sat heavy on him. Yet Lincoln didn't waver. He didn't seek easy answers or dodge responsibility. He bore the burden with relentless endurance and gave America its backbone. He didn't become great because it was easy. He became great because he kept showing up when others would have fallen. That's the kind of man you must become. You're not here for easy wins. You're here to evolve, to shed weakness and fear, and to become a man who leads his mind, commands his emotions, and moves with unwavering purpose. Let me say it again. Things get hard not to stop you, but to stretch you. Courage is built when your hands shake, but you move anyway. Discipline is forged when your body says rest, but your mind says one more. Belief grows by pushing through the days your mind tries to betray you. Andrew Carnegie taught me this. No man becomes powerful by choosing ease. He chose the path demanding his full self because only there could greatness rise. He said the mountain doesn't get smaller, you grow stronger. And you, right now, are growing stronger even if you don't feel it yet. Here's what to do when the going gets hard. Don't retreat. Take one small action, imperfect and unseen if you must. Action, not motivation, is your lifeline. Return to your purpose. Say it aloud. Reconnect to your mission. Fear grows in those who forget why they began. Cut the noise. Don't explain your fatigue. Don't seek comfort from those who never built anything. Sit in silence and remember who you are. Rehearse your power. Say it with certainty, not because you feel strong, but because you choose to be. Then keep going. Keep going when no one watches. When applause fades, keep going. When fear whispers, maybe this isn't worth it, keep going. Your consistency through pain, pressure, and silence is proof you are becoming unbreakable. This world cannot break you. So say it loud with fire and no hesitation. I am not done. I am not finished. I do not quit. I rise. The unstoppable man isn't the one who starts fast. He's the one who refuses to stop, no matter how slow the path becomes. That man is you. Few early wins, no instant triumphs, but Ford held tight to one thing above all else, belief. He said it plainly. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. That wasn't a catchy phrase for a poster. It was the foundation of his entire being. He refused to dwell on limits. Instead, he repeated possibility. He never practiced failure. He rehearsed certainty. Day after day, over and over, he trained his mind to reject doubt until doubt itself stopped recognizing him. So ask yourself, what have you been rehearsing? Hesitation, replaying setbacks, feeding thoughts that belong to someone weaker than the man you're becoming. Repetition is more than action. It's identity. Each time you repeat weakness, you strengthen it. Each time you dwell on doubt, you build a mind that sees through fear's lens. But every time you repeat strength, even if it feels unreal, you lay down a new identity, one that won't flinch or fold. Thomas Edison understood this well. His labs were not just workshops. They were temples of persistence. Success didn't come from bursts of inspiration. It came from relentless consistency. Every failure wasn't a step backward, but a step forward, part of a greater pattern. Keep moving no matter what. That is the mastery mindset. So hear this. If you want to be unbreakable when life presses in, don't wait for motivation. Build discipline. Don't wait for courage. Repeat it. Say it aloud, not once or twice, but daily. I do not hesitate. I do not fold. I act immediately. Write it, speak it, live it until that repeated identity becomes all you know. Start by scheduling your identity, not your tasks. Each morning, declare who you are becoming. Each evening, confirm who you were that day. And in between, act like it's already done. This is how men become bulletproof, not by chance or talk, but by repetition. Fearlessness is never accidental. It's a choice repeated until it's instinct. So ask again, who are you rehearsing? The old you who doubts, pauses, drifts, or the new you who speaks clearly, acts boldly, and refuses to step back? Decide now and repeat it relentlessly. Every day I choose strength. Every day I build discipline. Every day I become unbreakable. This isn't philosophy. It's your blueprint. Etch it into your soul. Because the man who masters repetition masters himself, and the man who masters himself fears nothing. Let's move on. You say you want strength, power, the man who can't be shaken.
But what do you do when pressure hits? Every man talks about greatness until the weight crushes him, until the trial arrives and life presses its hand against your chest, asking, do you really mean it? Pressure isn't the enemy. Pressure is the test. It proves who you are. Just as a sword must pass through fire, a man must pass through resistance. Greatness isn't born in comfort, but in conflict. Not in applause, but in silence. Not when it's easy, but when every instinct screams to quit, and you say no. Edison knew this better than most. He failed over 10,000 times before the light bulb succeeded. Those failures weren't quiet. Voices shouted from outside and inside saying enough. But Edison didn't flinch. He decided pressure wouldn't scare him. It revealed the steel within. Pressure exposes you. If you fold, it means your foundation wasn't solid. But if you stand, though you hurt, though you shake, though your hands bleed, then pressure becomes your birthplace, not your tomb. Abraham Lincoln, in America's darkest hour, was torn from all sides. Half the country hated him. His allies doubted. Brothers died on soil meant for union. Yet Lincoln stood firm. He bore the pressure and passed through it because his vision for unity was stronger than destruction's pull. Your war may not be on a battlefield or public stage, but it will come. The day your strength moves from theory to proof, that day will define you. Let me be clear. Run from pressure, and you run from power. Avoid stress, and you avoid strength. Seek ease, and you sentence yourself to weakness. But if you welcome pressure, if you see it as the chance to become the man you claim to be, then every burden is a tool, every trial a teacher, every storm a forge building your unbreakable backbone. Here's a principle to carry always. Pain is not punishment, it's permission to rise. The moment you feel resistance is the moment most quit, but not you. Now you know pressure isn't a roadblock, it's the path. Every second you endure it, you become harder to stop. Say it loud, pressure does not weaken me, it reveals my strength. Resistance is not the end, it is the beginning. Each time life tries to break me, I grow sharper. Diamonds don't form in silence, they form under pressure. The question is, will you endure long enough to emerge unshaken, unbroken, untouchable? Repeat this daily, and you will. The man trained under pressure cannot be defeated. Now there's a truth every man must face. Most wait too long. You can't reach the peak while still holding on to the safety rope. You can't conquer your calling while keeping a back door open. If you want to win, remove the option to lose, not just in the world but in your mind. Burn the bridge. The man who keeps an escape route never fully commits. His energy divides. His mind fights itself. Fear lives where options remain. To delay, retreat, play safe. But the man who truly decides leaves no room to backtrack. He burns the boat, breaks the lifeline, commits fully, even if the road turns steep, dark, and painful. For him, the outcome isn't a possibility, it's a demand.
Andrew Carnegie lived this truth. He rose from poverty to become an industrial titan by destroying every excuse that let him stay small. He never left comfort's door open. He worked like his life depended on it because it did. Carnegie didn't chase wealth, he chased total commitment to a single goal. Henry Ford did the same, facing financial collapse, public shame, fierce rivals. He didn't look for an escape or second option. He didn't wonder if he'd fail. He said, it will work, because I refuse to consider otherwise. That's burning the bridge. It's not poetic, it's strategic. Not emotional, it's essential. So long as you can go back, you will. When pressure rises, your subconscious listens. Feed it doubt, even a little, and it will sabotage you. But when you say no retreat, no escape, and back it with repeated decisions and actions, your subconscious aligns with your mission. Winning is the only choice. Hear this plainly. You won't finish your purpose, dragging the past behind. You won't become the man you're meant to be while holding on to old excuses. So ask yourself, what bridges must you burn? Which exits must you close? What part of you must die so a stronger version can rise? This isn't recklessness, it's finality. It's telling your mind, we don't turn back. Say now, I do not entertain escape. I do not flirt with failure. I move forward and never look back. Let those words be the wall that keeps fear out, the foundation your identity rests on. You don't need more motivation. You need finality. Burn the bridge that kept fear alive and walk forward with nothing but fire behind you. The man with no way back must find a way forward, and he always does. Now, we move to the next truth. Destroying the myth of perfect timing and unlocking the mindset of immediate action. There's a dangerous lie that stops more men than failure ever could. The myth of the right time. The belief that someday when stars align, pressure fades, finances are perfect, confidence arrives, then a man will act. Let me be clear, there is no right time. There is only now or never. Every other notion is fiction. The man who waits for perfect conditions dies with his best work trapped inside him. Edison didn't wait for permission or perfect conditions. He began, acted, and failed more times than most ever try. But his failures came from action, not hesitation. That's why he succeeded. Understand this. Motion attracts momentum. Hesitation attracts hesitation. Each delay signals your subconscious, we're not ready, don't move, and fear wires itself in. Soon the idea that once lit your soul now terrifies you, not because it's impossible, but because you paused. Henry Ford knew this better than anyone. Speed matters, not speed in results, but speed in decisions and execution. He said you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. He became one of the richest men by moving before the world believed, building before the applause, forcing reality to catch up. The most dangerous habit is hesitation. It wears the mask of wisdom, responsibility, caution, but underneath it's fear in disguise. It steals destiny by convincing you to wait. You must kill the belief in someday. Someday is the deathbed of dreams. No great man looks back and says, I waited for the perfect moment. He says, I moved when it was hard. I acted before I felt ready. I trusted my decision more than my feelings. Lincoln didn't wait for peace to fight injustice. He stood boldly in division's storm because the mission was greater than the moment. You must do the same. Begin before readiness arrives. Move when your hands shake. Trust your identity, not your feelings. Say now, I do not wait to feel strong. I act and strength follows. I am not a man who waits. I am a man who moves. The time is now because I say it is. That is what your subconscious hears. Repeated commands with emotional force. When you act before you're ready, your nervous system catches up. Confidence grows in the doing. Your mind obeys your identity, not your excuses. This is the law of power in action. You don't act because you feel ready. You feel ready because you act. So stop waiting for the right time. It doesn't exist. The clock is your enemy. The calendar is a coward's tool when used to delay destiny. Your mission is waiting. Your next step is waiting. Fear wants you to think longer. Don't. Move now. Let the world watch you build without permission. Most men fail to finish not for lack of skill or resources, but because they don't command the one thing that governs every choice, emotion. Let me speak clearly. A man who can't govern his emotions will never steer his own destiny. Emotions are like shifting weather, unpredictable, fleeting, and ever-changing. If your path depends on how you feel, you become a prisoner to your moods. You move forward when joy strikes, freeze when exhaustion hits, and surrender when pressure mounts. But here's the truth. Feelings are not facts. They're fleeting guests in the mind's house, whispers, suggestions, not commands. Yet many treat them like rulers, obeying every surge and drop as if emotion equates to truth. It doesn't. Emotion reacts. Purpose acts. Andrew Carnegie once said, the man who masters himself soon masters the world. He didn't mean ruling by force, but by example, by presence, by standing strong when others falter. This all starts with one skill, emotional mastery. Ask yourself, how many times have you sacrificed your future for a momentary feeling? How often have fear, doubt, anger, or wariness pushed you to take the easy way out? The defining factor isn't the hard days themselves, it's who you become in those moments. When the pressure builds, plans unravel, and storms rage inside, what do? Most retreat, excuse themselves, delay. Not today, they say. I'm not in the right headspace. But here's the reality. Every time you let your feelings have the final say, you weaken your identity. You teach your mind that moods outweigh your mission, and that soon becomes your pattern. But the man who conquers himself moves regardless of feelings. He doesn't deny emotion, he overrides it. That's the difference between builders and dreamers. Consider Thomas Edison, faced with 10,000 failures, public mockery, financial stress, doubt and pressure, yet frustration and fatigue never dictated his course. He acted anyway. Through that choice, he trained his nervous system, his subconscious, his very soul to follow identity, not emotion. When asked how he endured relentless failure, Edison said, I haven't failed. I've found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's not just a clever line. It's emotional discipline. Now hear this. There will be days you don't want to go on. When your body aches, your heart feels heavy, the outcome is unclear, and doubt floods your mind. On those days, you act anyway. Because who you are isn't determined by how you feel. It's revealed by how you respond when emotions scream retreat. Emotional control isn't pretending or suppressing pain. It's overriding it. Being the captain of your ship amid the wildest storms. Henry Ford knew emotional turbulence well. Criticism, betrayal, doubt from all sides. Yet he kept building, acting with unshakable consistency. That consistency became his advantage. How do you build this control? Here's the discipline. Name the emotion. Fear, anger, doubt. But don't obey it. Say, this is fear, this is anger. but I will not obey. I act anyway. Naming it separates you from the feeling. You aren't your emotions, you're the observer. And observers choose. Anchor yourself in identity, not mood. Your identity must be stronger than any fleeting feeling. Repeat this daily. I am the man who moves no matter what. Speak it aloud until your subconscious claims it as truth. Create rituals to summon power. The greatest men didn't wait to feel strong. They built strength daily. Carnegie meditated on his purpose. Schwab began mornings with his mission, not distractions. You must do the same. Whether affirmations, cold showers, silent walks, or declarations in the mirror, find your anchors and repeat them daily. Expect resistance and welcome it. Builders don't curse the hammer's weight, they train with it, so when fear, doubt, or fatigue arrive, greet them like old rivals and say, "You're here again, good, let's dance." Then act anyway. Remember Abraham Lincoln, burdened by civil war, public criticism, immense pressure, yet he endured. He led, wrote, and never let private pain become public paralysis. That's emotional mastery. It's not numbness, it's alignment so deep that no emotion detours you from your mission. Say it with me. I am not my feelings. I am my decisions. I do not obey emotion. I obey mission. I feel fear. I feel doubt. But I move anyway because I lead my state. These aren't mere affirmations. They're commands to reshape your being. Every time you act with power despite weakness, you build a backbone of steel. Over time, fear becomes a whisper, doubt irrelevant, hesitation impossible. This is the fruit of emotional mastery. You don't wait for peace, you bring peace through motion. You don't seek calm, you embody it. When things get hard, when the weight is crushing, you do not break, you rise, you act, and the world bends. Now, let's move to the final part of this journey, where we plant our flag and declare war on retreat itself. We'll combine all you've learned and finish what you started. Are you ready? This is not an ending. It's a rebirth. Stronger, fiercer, more certain than ever. This transformation isn't a spark, it's a rhythm. The daily, deliberate, relentless reinforcement of your identity until it's unquestionable. Don't listen once and move on. Install this message. Treat it as discipline, not inspiration. Wake up, play this speech, walk alone, repeat its words. When doubt creeps in, override it with these truths. Repetition is no boredom, it's the chisel carving your soul. If you want to be forged, unshakable, immovable, undeniable, you hammer these truths into your spirit every day. You will forget, you will drift, that's human. But if you return, if you recommit again and again, one day you'll wake up, and the man who feared the world will be gone. In his place stands a man who moves silently, who passes through resistance like the wind, a man who no longer hopes for strength because strength is now his default. Repeat this now, not tomorrow. Repeat until doubt cannot find your name. Repeat until hesitation cannot enter your posture. Repeat until your voice carries the weight of identity, not effort. Repeat until action requires no motivation. Repeat until discipline becomes nature. When the going gets tough, as it will, you won't break, you won't cry for help, you won't retreat. You will stand, not because you feel like it, but because you are trained for it, and when the trial arrives, you won't ask, "What now?" You will hear these words echo in your soul, this rhythm, this fire, this standard, and you will move, because repetition built you for this. Say it now with all your power. I do not wait to feel ready. I repeat readiness. I do not search for strength. I speak it. I do not listen once. I live this daily. This is your final word, your beginning, your new rhythm, your rebirth. Now return to the start and begin again. Let it repeat.